Ciao, homie.
All right, so the men's open class has 32 competitors at Official Strongman Games 2021. They are Denis Bereznik, Frederick Rayom, Emmanuel Frias, Gabriel Rayom, Sean Hayes, Josh Thigpen, Wesley Claiborne, Josh Reynolds, Ronnie Benekin, Jitsi Kramer, Ayub Mohammed, Victor Ampofo, Aurelien Lejeune, Zach Hadge, Nick Hadge, Brad Pillow, Tim Buck, Connor Gordon, Terrence Gilbert, Michael Eerdmans, Peter Juhans, Pavlo Kordiaka, Spencer Remick, Jonathan Lester, Marcus Crowder, Alex Kopp, Justin Leger, Stefan Sekej, Craig Candler, Stuart Graham, Joe Stella, and a hometown boy from New Jersey. What's up, Tyler Cotton? Yeah, I make no bones about the fact that I root for Tyler Cotton and the other New Jersey boys, but I do true math, so if he doesn't make it, he doesn't make it. We'll see how it all turns out. Let's have a look at the Open Men's 2021 Official Strongman Games predictions for the log press. And before we get started with the predictions, let me give you a little key into how I calculate past competition performances if they weren't done in an international competition like this one. So if the performance was done at an international competition, they get 100% of their strength rating from my block's strongest algorithm. If it was done at a continental competition like Middle East Strongest Man or Europe's Strongest Man, they get 90% of that strength rating. A country like America's Strongest Man or England's Strongest Man would be 80% of the strength rating that my algorithm has calculated. Amateur Worlds would be 70%. A country or continent qualifier, like they were in the qualifier for UKs and did well in that event but didn't make it to the finals, that would be 60% weighting. A state competition would be 60% as well. And then if I didn't have that particular event data for that competitor, meaning like Marcus Crowder, for example, I think has never done a super yoke in any of the competitions that I was able to find, I take a 10% deduction and derive it from the closest other event that he's done. So that's how I figure everything out. Let's take a look at the predictions. So I have to mention at this time, I heard Big Laws was again busting my chops about my predictions being terrible on one of his recent live streams. And it's so funny that that continues to happen after I've already implemented guidance and feedback and techniques that he's given me. So I'm a little bit shocked by why my predictions are still so terrible. But you know, Laz, let me just walk through my methodology and how I do my predictions, because all of us who don't have 72 years of experience like you do, this is how we have to do it. So I want you to understand how we have to do it. By the way, let me prepare your comeback joke for you. Ready? Ready? Bollocks, mate. My blocks. You're older than I am. So we're going to start off the Official Strongman Games 2021 predictions for the Open Men's class with the log press. So let's have a look at my block's strongest algorithm and how I figured out what everybody should be rated. So Alexander Kopp, for example, is a 73.30 out of 100 strength rating in the competitions he's done log press for reps in. Now, they were at amateurs, so again, you got to multiply that by my 0.7 multiplier I talked about before to equilibrate it with the fact that he is competing internationally now against some amateurs and some pros, and so that'll make everybody kind of equal to each other or make their numbers equal. Aurelien Lejeune was a 12.5, so not a good log presser in the variety of different competitions I tracked for him. Emmanuel Frias, very good log presser, 93.92. That was at a national competition, so that would get multiplied by 0.8, like a country. They used to have North American, like Canada and US together, so I would give that a 0.9 if we had that, but this was US only. Frederick Rayom, 45.3 in the various log competitions that you see here. And I'm just walking through this so you can see the various competitions I used to compile all of this data and maybe get an appreciation for how much work went into this. So Gabriel Rayom is 47.06. Now his is just log press for max, so I had to take a deduction of 10% because it's not an apples to apples comparison. So I think you're starting to get the hang of how I calculated all this. Jitsi Kramer, 0, not a good log presser, zeroed quite a few times. Jonathan Lester, 97.22, an exceptional log presser that was done at USS Nationals. Josh Reynolds, 88.64, as we see here. And again, very, very good log presser there. Josh Thigpen came with a 60 rating for him. Marcus Crowder rated 82.38 in his log events that I tracked for him. And you'll see different competitors have different numbers of competitions they've done log in. Some are for reps, some are for max, so I had to work with what I had. Nick Hadge, not a great log presser, 16.11 out of a possible 100 over his career. Pavlo Kordiaka, 83.93. He's a very good log presser. And again, you saw him recently at Middle East Strongest Man. Peter Juhans, 36.67, not a great score. Sean Hayes is 85.29, so a very good presser. This was done at Canada's Strongest Man for Sean. Spencer Remick, 54.5, so sort of middle of the pack for him. And he had, a variety of competitions here, America's Strongest Man, a previous OSG competition, Strongman Champions League. So I try to gather as much data as I possibly can on these guys. Stuart Graham, 77.78 for him, so that's a very good score. He did that at Scotland's Strongest Man. Tim Buck, the American, 98.72 at Strongman Corporation Nationals, so a near perfect score there against lots of competition. Tyler Cotton, 84.09, so a great score for him. Wesley Claiborne, 58.94, so getting to sort of the good scores, a little bit better than average. Zach Hadge, 32.10, so not great for Zach. And those are all our competitors for the log. So this is the data I took. Now let's go have a look at the actual predictions to see how I manipulated this data with my multipliers to figure out how these guys would compete against each other. Let me tell you, it was quite a lot of work dealing with 32 guys. Now, I'll just state forthrightly, there were 4 guys who I couldn't get good data on, so we're going to have 28 instead of 32, and I'll just have to go with the assumption that those 4 guys wouldn't have made the finals and deal with the data that I had, unfortunately. And at this time, I'd like to let you know that this video is being sponsored by our good friends at Garage Gym Life Media. If you like some of the analysis I've done on domestic contests in the past and want to know some more about the fine folks who are putting together and streaming some of those contests, I'm going to let John Greaves III, the founder of Garage Gym Life Media, tell you a little more about it.
Training in a home gym, especially if you're training by yourself, can be tough because sometimes you just don't have the motivation to go in your garage or your basement and get it done. And that's why we stream competitions every month on the Garage Gym Life Media YouTube channel. I'm John Greaves III, founder of Garage Gym Life Media, and after 20 years of training in a home gym, I can tell you that there's some days when I just don't feel like training. And those are the days when I put on some sort of training video or other strength-related content to give me the extra motivation I need to get in there and get it done. There is nothing more motivating than seeing people achieving their goals at a powerlifting meet or a strongman competition. And that's why month after month, we provide that content to you right there in the comfort of your own home on our YouTube channel. Plus, we leave it up forever so you can always just throw it on in the background anytime you need that extra dose of motivation to get you going. And that's why, if you're not already a subscriber to Garage Gym Life Media, I invite you to take advantage of this opportunity to add this powerful training tool into your arsenal, because I want you to succeed right there in the best gym in town.
Stella will come away with 6 points. He had a 0 rating, as you just saw on the log press. Jitsa Kramer, same thing, 0'd in multiple different competitions. 6 points for him. 7 points to Ayub Muhammad, and of course these guys would be 1 or 2 points if we were using the 4 guys that I don't have data for. That's why the numbers are a bit off, but it'll all equilibrate in the end, no worries. Ayub Muhammad, 7 points for him, so his log pressing rating 7.2 out of 100, not great, but good enough for 7 points. 8.33 rating for Nick Hadge, so he'll come away with 8 points. Aurelien Lejeune, 12.5 rating for him, good enough for 9 points. We then have Bradley Pillow, who will come away tied with 11 points here. Again, this is a log press for time, so he wouldn't really tie, but it didn't make a difference with who goes through to the finals or not, so I didn't nitpick that particular number, but 25 rating for both him and Zach Hadge. 26.67 rating for Terrence Gilbert, who I gave 12 points to. 13 points to Frederick Rayom, so 31.71 rating for him. And again, Rayom, not room, Rayom. Have a French friend, believe me. 14 points going to Gabriel Rayom, so he has just slightly better, 32.94 rating in the log press. 15 points to Peter Juhas, 36.67 rating, 15 points for him, and we're still not at the point where I would call the ratings good. Anything above 50 is a good rating. 50 going to Ronnie Bennikin, so he'll take 17 points. And again, right around that same area for Justin Leger. Justin actually won the log press, which is, if you look at my formula above, it's 100 times 0.5, but he won it in a smaller show, so I multiplied it down. Alex Kopp is 18 points, so he is going to come away with a 51.31 rating. And again, here you can see my calculations. It was actually a 73.3 rating, but the 0.7 indicates that it was likely in an amateur worlds or something along those lines, so I had to multiply it down to equilibrate for guys in here that have done it at international competitions before. 54 rating for Josh Thigpen, so he has 19 points. Josh was actually a 60 rating. I gave him a 10% deduction, and this may be unfair. Josh has been out of the game for a while, so it's difficult to tell if his best right now will be enough to beat the best of guys that are kind of just coming up or getting in their prime. So I dinged Josh a 10th on everything. We'll see in the actual competition if that was fair or not. Stefan Sekej, 56 rating for him, so we're starting to get into the decent ratings. 20 points. 21 points will go to Denis Bereznik, 58.89 rating for him. 22 points will go to Sean Hayes at a 59.7 rating out of a possible 100. 23 points will go to Stuart Graham at a 62.24 rating out of a possible 100. 24 points go to Spencer Remick, 63.64. 25 points will go to Wesley Claiborne, who rates 64.97 in log press. Marcus Crowder, all sixes for him. 66.66 rating gets him 26 points. Tim Buck, 27 points with a rating of 69.10. 28 points go to Josh Reynolds with a rating of 72.73, starting to get to very, very good ratings now. And we're getting toward the top of the point standings. 29 points will go to Emmanuel Frias, who I believe is another New Jersey boy, so we're rooting hard for Emmanuel. 75.14 rating for him. And 30 points will go to Pavlo Kordiaka, 75.14 points for him. Yes, his rating's the same as Emmanuel, but they're like 100th off or 200ths off from each other. They're not exactly the same if you do the math that you see in my toolbar above. So he does come out slightly ahead, 30 points for Pavlo. Tyler Cotton at 75.57 will come away with 31 points. And that leaves us with Jonathan Lester at the top of the log press standings with a rating of 77.78 points for 32 points in the log press at 2021 official Strongman Games. That's your top three finishers predicted for the 2021 official Strongman Games Men's Open log press. Jonathan Lester, Tyler Cotton, Pavlo Kordiaka. And as you can see for Jonathan, there's the multiplier times 0.8 because he did it at a nationals, not an international, but still enough for first place there. So here's your log press predictions for the 2021 official Strongman Games Men's Open class. Once I have my video available for the next event, the car walk, you can check that out by clicking here.